Hello everybody and welcome to Orf. My name is Philip and thank you for stopping by. It's album review time. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's look at Brat by Charli XCX. Honestly, I've never really been a huge fan of Charli. My first memory of her, like many other listeners, was her feature on the Iggy Azalea song Fancy back in 2014, and I absolutely despised that, and I haven't listened to it in a while, but at the time, I just remember that song as being completely ear-grating. I hated it. I kept seeing her name pop up all throughout the 2010s. However, I never went out of my way to listen to the latest Charli XCX albums. That is until 2020 when during lockdown I stumbled across How I'm Feeling Now, which not only sounded much different to the stuff that I had heard from Charli before, but I actually found it better than most of her discography that I had heard at that point. Obviously, Charli was able to stay relevant for the better part of a decade by sort of fitting into this role of your classic London club icon. But that's not really the sound I got on this record. It was a little bit more stripped, with more of a focus on a computational sound, mixed with, at times, some pretty beautiful melodies and synths, like on tracks such as C 2.0, Enemy, Claws. This record gave me enough of a reason to go back and check out what I had been missing from Charli through the latter half of the 2010s. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised with the likes of 2019's Charli, 2017's Pop 2, and especially the Vroom Vroom EP after it was recommended to me by a friend. How I'm Feeling Now still stood out the most though, but it gave me plenty of a reason to keep Charli on my radar, because I truly enjoyed that sort of futuristic, digital spin on songs that otherwise wouldn't be out of place in, I want to say, the mid-2000s. But then Crash came along, and it felt like we kind of lost that momentum. It's like we were going back to the style that Charli was more famous for previously, which was simultaneously the vibe that I did not enjoy nearly as much as her more ambitious hyperpop sound. So my expectations after this one were kind of ambiguous. Really left me on kind of a cliffhanger of what was going to come next. And once Brat was released, I realized that I could breathe a sigh of relief. Because not only was she bringing back that style that I loved so much, she has expanded on it in a way that I would describe as above and beyond. Because the framework, the design of this album is consistent through each and every track, and yet each song on here remains so different from the last, to the point where even though there isn't a lot of complex instrumentation here, I can immediately tell which song I'm listening to, despite the aesthetics being so similar. So every song on here has its own identity, and it looks like we're at the point where Brat will serve as an anthem for the modern era of pop music. And most importantly, not just in the club, because there are actually a few tracks on here that might bring some people to tears. Mainly the likes of I Might Say Something Stupid, I Think About It All the Time, and So I, which I didn't realize until after listening is about Sophie, rest in peace, the late producer that Charli collaborated with and apparently was a driving force in getting Charli to where she is today with this matured sound. Yeah, we're getting into themes of existential dread, contemplation of purpose, grappling with the potential of being a mother, a tribute to the dearly departed, all of this coming from an artist that I'm sure plenty of casual pop listeners might assume is just another lavish, rich girl from Cambridge that loves to party. I think this record, and earlier albums as well, prove that Charli is so much more than that. And by the way, the darker, more serious tones don't only come in the form of low-key, quieter, slower tracks. You have songs like Girl So Confusing, about having someone close to you that you don't necessarily dislike, but definitely have very complex feelings about. There's Everything Is Romantic, which sounds to me like it's about finding beauty in what are actually the most mundane aspects of life, which could very well be taken in a meta sense. There's Rewind, that focuses on the desire to go back to moments when self-doubt was not a key part of life. And then you have my personal favorite track on the whole record, Apple, which is about the struggle to break away from family traditions and expectations. And the list goes on, even into the deluxe edition of the record. And meanwhile, so many people are probably never going to get invested into the deeper meanings of these tracks, but will still casually put on tracks like 360 or 365, Talk Talk, Von Dutch, Club Classics, and still just get a fantastically produced pop banger. So there's definitely something for for everyone on this album, and honestly, while I didn't expect to be saying this about a Charli XCX album, there are no skips. Charli, along with everyone who worked on the album, took an approach that was rather minimalist. There's no arena-sized production or pop tropes that get a guaranteed response. And yet, every song on this album offers so much, whether it be something glamorous, something to make you dance, or something that makes you want to cry your eyes out, or maybe even some entirely novel, previously unknown emotion altogether. In some ways, Brat feels almost like a long-lost Lady Gaga album, while at the same time incorporating so many cohesive elements that make this album Charli's. At the end of the day, Brat, to me, is a damn near perfect culmination of everything that has made Charli who she is, both as an artist and as a person, in one incredible album. So, from me, Brat gets an S. And as soon as I finish filming this video, I'm gonna go hang out with my girlfriend and we're gonna listen to it all over again. So those are my thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours. Throw them in the comments. I will read all of them, I promise. And with that said, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. See ya.